startled me. Well, hello there. My name's Joe, and I'm here to talk to you today about religion and nationalities in such a cold Russian winter day. Well, first off, religion. They've always been, to say the Bolsheviks especially, heavy atheists, obsessed with getting rid of the Russian Orthodox Church. You see, their first campaign started in 1921 to around 28, but it did officially start in around 1929. A campaign to which Stalin himself would always criticise on the lack of the impact the propaganda would have on the Soviet people. You see, from the 1920s to 30s, followers were shot or imprisoned. Around 85,000 priests in 1937 were shot. By 1939, there were only 12 priests left in Russia. What a shocking fact. Now, going on to nationalities. Well, this is where it gets interesting. In 1937, there were national sweeps. The NKVD, here we are, that special group of people. No. Going on to nationalities. From 1932 to 33, there was a famine in the Ukraine, which Stalin himself used to his advantage and kept them at bay, stopped them from immigrating. Led to a lot of deaths. How sad. 1937, national sweeps were held by the NKVD. Brutal, harsh times for people living in Russian cities. Times where if you were Polish, Jewish, Muslim, Korean, any ethnicity other than pure Russian, or at least Russified Russians. 1938, ethnic cleansing, 250,000 people were killed.
Yes.
Stalin pushed for Russification. Native communist elites were purged and replaced with Russified or thoroughly Russian people.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Today, I'm speaking about the youth and education in Russia and how far it transformed. Specifically, education. So, in education, examinations, homework, rate of learning was all reinstalled under Stalin, and especially in the late 1930s. School uniform reappeared as well, so people would then be inclined to learn and enjoy their learning more. Come with me for a walk. So while I tell you about how Stalin sought to increase production in schooling, because that's where youth obviously, start. So Stalin believes if you have a stronger workforce is then built by education. So that he started that in the old schooling system. He believed that's where it all started. So you'd like to come with me? Russian Soviet there. You'd like to come with me? I'd like to tell you how school. Sorry, it's very windy out here in Russia. I'd like to tell you about the Kosomo, which was a young youth organisation. The Kosomo was started off as the All-Union Leninist Young Communist League, and here young people would be more inclined to join health activities such as sport, education and publishing activities. Stalin really enjoyed these.
Hey, the Soviets wanted to create the right citizen who would have the moral, social responsibility to take on the role of the right attitude. Oh no, cut that bit out.
Okay.
Stalin wanted to create the right sort of citizens to live within the socialist state, just like Bridget here. With the right attitude, they can go a long way in Soviet Russia.
Yes.
With removing all the illiterate, uneducated peasants from.
Keep going.
The Soviet man would embody and symbolise a new society which takes on the social responsibility and the moral virtue above the proletarian. Creating citizens like this was our objective as a part of the Cultural Revolution from 1929 to 31.
Okay.
Pavel Kukazin, the hero of the novel How the Steel Was Tempered, who put interests of his comrades and the Bolsheviks and the state before himself, which shows the perfect Soviet man.
Hello there. I'm here to talk to you about women and how they changed in Soviet society. Come with me. Now, women had a difficult time, a very difficult time. It was almost made impossible to get divorced. Why? Because Soviets wanted the family. And, even more importantly, the women did not have a good time after they got divorced. No, they didn't. Many of these women were subject to rape and even worse things. Not that there's anything worse than rape. Although, it wasn't all bad. You see, women had a fixed income for every child they had over their sixth child, which meant they got about 2,000 rubles per child. This was a lot of money back in the day. And what made it even easier was they could go to hospital very easily because there were now hospitals to give birth in. Before, you'd have to give birth on a farm or something, like Jesus. Now let me tell you a little bit about culture. Culture wasn't easy for people in Russia. You couldn't make anything that wasn't pro-Bolshevik, otherwise you'd be kicked out of their union of artists. Every film you went to see had to be for the workers, and it had to be by the workers, and it had to be for the workers. Now, the reason this is because the Bolsheviks wanted nothing but to push their agenda. Anything that was deemed un-Bolshevik or unworkmanship-like was immediately expelled from their Academy of Arts and was never to be shown again. And that is why culture was transformed for the worse in Russia.